All right, welcome back to Hannity. We continue from beautiful Miami, no income tax state, Florida. And we're here with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Senator Marco Rubio, who really worked hard to get here in spite of working all late this afternoon. And also joining us now is the daughter of political refugees from Cuba, Florida Congresswoman. She's been a friend of the show for a long time and a friend of my radio show, Maria Salazar. Great to see you.
Thank you very much and welcome to Little Havana, the heart of my district, the heart of the Cuban exile community. And we really wish that the Biden administration would be paying attention to us the same way that you are. So we thank you very much for doing this, putting the spotlight on what's happening in Cuba.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. And from the time I met all three of you, you were all passionate about this issue. One question I have, when Joe Biden, now they've been facilitating this law breaking at our southern border, and basically nobody gets sent back. You just get, okay, it's not even catch and release. It's just write down your name, release, and we'll ship you off to another state. But if you come by sea, Joe is saying, no, you'll be sent back. Am I to read anything into that?
Well, I think what you read into it is that he is not paying attention to those people that are screaming on the streets of Havana, Libertad. You know, they're not saying down with the embargo, or we want more vaccines, or we want more food. No, they're saying we want freedom. And something that my colleague said here is that many demonstrations, you see the American flag. So what a coincidence that you're seeing the American flag for people that feel the oppression of socialism. Well, in this country, unfortunately, some people are spitting on it. Yeah. So it goes to show you that the socialism, regardless of what word you put in front or behind it, it doesn't work. And what I'm saying, Sean, and once again, we thank you, is that the Biden administration needs to pay attention to us.
Does everybody agree Biden has been missing in action? Everyone? You know, I think back, there was a time in this country when Ronald Reagan supported the freedom fighters in Nicaragua to fight their own battle, but they were fighting for the freedom movement there. And beyond the internet, which is brilliant, we need communication. Should that be on the table? The Miami mayor even said very aggressively. What are your thoughts, Senator? We'll start with you.
Well, I mean, the first thing is it took Biden 24 hours just to issue a statement.
Correct.
And then another 72 hours to say a second thing. And then they did some Zoom call with some people, and then it came back with some third weekend statement. So I don't think you can, right now, we can't even get him to do the internet. How are we going to get him to do anything else?
Correct.
That's the real challenge here with all of this. And,
by the way, if you missed Senator Rubio's Twitter timeline, it's now 8:30, not a word from Biden.
Correct.
Now 10:10, not a word from Biden. I mean, I really think single-handedly you embarrassed him into finally making a statement.
It's just not a priority for them. And you have to understand, again, there's a segment of his voting base that actually thinks the regime is good. Yeah. That actually brags about the regime. Other people that openly say it. I mean, the Black Lives Matter Foundation said that how great. And I said, that's great. My office will help the Black Lives Matter Foundation immigrate to Cuba. We stand ready to help.
Great point. Governor, you're right. There are people that were nearly crying that I met on the way in here.
Correct.
They can't communicate now with their loved ones and their friends and their family. And the internet is crucial. I agree with you. You've been right about that. And I think there is great cowardice of Biden. Is there more we can do? What should the doctrine be if we talk about a doctrine?
Well, this is Western Hemisphere. I mean, One Road Doctrine. We want to have no influence of places like Russia and China. And I can guarantee you, if Biden is missing in action more, you're going to see China and Russia and some of those have even more influence on the island of Cuba without question. So I think you can work with the Organization of American States. I think you can work with other members of the international community to stand together and support people who are being oppressed. This should be a no-brainer given the history of 62 years of repression. Instead, you have Biden's administration having our own country be criticized for racism. They're inviting that. That's their priority, rather than helping folks who could really make a difference. So it's bizarre.
It's very bizarre.
Let me just.
All right, welcome back to Hannity. All right, so we're outside Versailles restaurant with Governor Ron DeSantis, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, and we're going to begin our town hall portion of this, and we're going to move back here. You can come with me. Where's the governor? Hi. this is, guys, tell me what this is.
People have gotten for fighting for freedom. People that when no gets their voice, using their voice.
They're missing.
Correct. They're taking them away. We don't know where they're at. There's more than 154 of them literally missing. There's not enough space.
How recently are they missing?
This is July 11th. So daily they go missing. So going outside to protest, they take them away.
They're political
Governor
prisoners.
and Senator.
Absolutely.
I mean, what a story.
It is, and I mean, I'm not saying we have some over 500 people documented that have been arrested. Many of them, they're doing sham trials. They're convicting 30 people. And before the protest,
There's almost. Have you all noticed there's almost been a media blackout of this story?
It is, but it hasn't got to it. Your time is in. Come on.
And if you felt thing, sir.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, hold on. Does anybody have a question for the governor and senator? Anybody have a question for the governor or senator? We just talked about
So
that.
the questions about the internet. I called on President Biden. We have the capability to do it. We need Biden to support it, and we will get internet to the people of Cuba.
Let me ask the crowd. Are you angry?
This is
Biden. Okay, you wanted to ask a question or make a comment?
Help Venezuela. What can we do now for the people of Venezuela so it doesn't become the next Cuba?
well, the first thing I would say about Venezuela is there is no Maduro without Cuba supporting him. The second thing is that people have forgotten on the day after the protest, they tried to basically kidnap the actual interim president of Venezuela.
Right.
They tried to move hard on those people. So I think we have to stay on. And unfortunately, on that day, Biden, the same time as they were trying to abduct Juan Guaido, Biden was lifting one sanction that Trump had put in place.
The only question is,
On the Maduro regime.
But when you think about it, think about this, the minute Cuba is free, that could then be a domino effect, maybe?
So they're the number one source of support for the Maduro regime. They're the number one support for Nicaragua. They've been the source of everything bad in the Western Hemisphere for 60 years.
Right.
Yeah, without Cuba, there is no Maduro, there is no Ortega, there is none of these guerrillas trying to destabilize Colombia. They are the source of all evil in this Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's move over here a little bit. I want to say this, let me get to this guy, this person. Okay, I'll tell you what. You see, look, if we can get the camera, when we come back, you're dressed in blood, freedom across here. We'll continue. We are at the Versailles. We're in Little Havana. We're in Miami as people standing in solidarity with the people and the freedom movement going on in Cuba, which has been underreported by the news media and frankly ignored by the president for the most part. We'll continue straight ahead from Miami.
Freedom for Cuba! Today I'm
All right, welcome back to Hannity. As we are in Miami, the world-renowned Versailles restaurant, we have Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, the mayor of the great city of Miami. You've been so passionate and so outspoken. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for being here, for highlighting this issue to the world. You know, the Cuban people have no means to defend themselves, and this is something that impacts the entire hemisphere, and it's so sad to see a lack of U.S. leadership. When you see basically
Crowd, look at it. So they are furious about it.
It is.
And they have every right to be.
Absolutely, Sean.
There's an incredible woman that we met here. She's next to Governor DeSantis. You came here when you were 6 years old, but your mom had to stay back in Cuba.
Yes, we came when I was 6 years old. The Freedom Liberty flight, 1966. My mom stayed, and I came alone with my sister and dad. We didn't have family here, but some family took us, and I I love the United States, but what we're asking for is a free Cuba so I could go to my hometown and actually, see what Cuba's all about. We've never gone back. I will not go back until it's a free Cuba. And that's what we're asking for, because my parents, they took away their houses, they took away their businesses, and that's what the people are asking for, freedom.
By the way, these are really peaceful protests, right? Everybody's been very peaceful. Okay, you guys are scaring me. But you're making a point. Tell us.
This chain represents the dictatorship in Cuba. This blood represents the blood that is going to be on the hands of those who stand next to the dictatorship and not next to the Cuban people. Joe Biden, Cuban wants freedom. They need freedom. They don't want vaccines. They don't want food. They need freedom. That's what the Cuban people deserve, and that's what they want. And the United States has to stand next to the Cuban people, not to the dictatorship.
Is this all happening because there's not enough coverage or action from Washington? You have great representatives. You got Rick Scott. You got Marco Rubio. You have a great mayor and you have a great governor. But Washington, your message?
Cuba needs freedom. Freedom. Enough is enough. The only vaccine the Cuban people is needing is freedom. Please help.
It goes back to what we all discussed earlier, and that is that if they have communications, I would believe that tonight would inspire the freedom movement, the liberty movement in Cuba. Real quick.
Yeah, the regime is telling them no one cares. They've moved on. This is important. The world cannot forget, and we can't stop until Cuba's free and it has liberty.
Well, the same message. And as I was telling you, we are very frustrated. We are very upset because we have called respectfully and we have told the Biden administration this has nothing to do with political parties.
Can you not meet with Joe Biden? Will he not meet with you?
He will not meet with us.
We've asked for meetings. It hasn't happened so far.
I am asking the White House.
That's despicable.
3 times a day.
Got to take a break. More from Miami. It's Hannity on the ground for the cause of liberty and freedom for the people of Cuba as we continue.